This is Everything Hurts and I'm Dying, the podcast to remind you that health and fitness is for everyone. It doesn't have to be miserable. You're allowed to enjoy yourself. Join me, your host, Julia Krause, as we navigate together through the world of toxic fitness, six-pack abs, Instagram booties, and no days off to find real human experiences. Our world is different. It is inclusive and accessible. It is fun and challenging. It is friendly and supportive. It is open, real, honest, vulnerable, and brave. Everyone's journey of health and fitness is different, as it should be, and I'm here to help you along on yours. Welcome. You belong here. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Everything Hurts and I'm Dying. I'm your host, Julia Krause, and for the first time in weeks, I am not here all by myself. I am here with my lovely editor, Tony. Tony, say hello.
Hello.
Hi. I'm so happy to have you back. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. It feels really nice to be in here with someone else and not just totally by myself.
It's strange making noise and not just being silent in the corner.
No one can silence you, Tony.
You can.
That's just because I'm loud. So, speaking of which, Tony has a very good point. The topic of today is about taking up space and kind of being big in your space. And so we'll get all into that as the episode moves on. First things first, we're going to be talking about our week and what we're working on in our training. So this week, I'm actually preparing to do a truck pull. I'm actually going to be pulling 3 trucks. I'm absolutely terrified. I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's going to be absolutely hilarious. So the first truck is 13 tons, the second truck is 25 tons, and the third truck is 50 tons. And honestly, if I'm just able to pull a truck, I'll be happy. I don't really care if I pull all 3. I'm just going to do the best I can. The whole reason why we are doing this is it's for charity. It's for SANS, which is a infant death charity, which is very important to a friend of mine. And so he's actually signed up to do the truck pull. And I've just basically signed up in solidarity to do it with him. It was actually hilarious because he sent a text to the group chat of like, does anybody want to do it with me? And nobody responded, and everyone just kind of like ghosted him. And obviously I felt bad. And so I was like, I volunteer as a tribute. I'll do it. So in a nutshell, I've basically signed up to pull trucks because I'm a huge pushover. And something about that doesn't really add up. Like I feel like weak. And so I've signed up to do a truck pull because I can just basically be convinced to do lots of things. And so this is my life. Now I'm pulling trucks, and God help us all, really. I don't know how that's going to go. So I am preparing for the truck pull, and some things that I've learned along the way, in case you're deciding to pull any trucks anytime soon, is it's all about explosivity and lactic acid clearance from your muscles. So what that means is obviously you need to be really, really explosive off the bat to just get the truck moving. So really high explosivity, a lot of plyometrics can be used in that. So lots of box jumps, lots of really like aggressive sprint work, lots of like jumping and power moves. And once you get that truck rolling, it's all about how well your body can clear lactic acid from the muscles. Because once you're going, the momentum of the truck will obviously keep it going. But then it's just about like endurance of your muscles before they just give way. And that's actually the scientific term is So, so wish me luck. I don't know how this is going to go. It's going to be an absolute shit show, but I'm excited. It'll be fun. Let's try something new. Everybody try something new. Pull a truck. Fuck it. Everything hurts and I'm dying. Welcome back, everybody. We are going to move on to the next section, which is our beefcake section. The beefcake section is the section where I just talk about my gym beef and rant and rave about it, really. So my beefcake this week is people who are afraid of the free weights section. So people who they go to the gym and then they just go straight to the treadmills, or they go straight to like the cable machines, or straight to the classes, just straight to like all their little comfort zones, and they walk straight past the free weight section. So they walk straight past the barbells, they walk straight past the dumbbells, they just kind of go straight to the treadmills or the Stairmaster or whatever, and they kind of get on with it. I don't think you should be afraid of the free weight section. I think that you should dip a little toe in that pool, kind of venture over, sniff it out, kind of see how it's going. Give the barbell like a little pat or something if you need to. Get comfortable. And then fuck it. And then go to your treadmill. Then go to your Stairmaster. Then go do what you want. But just don't be afraid of the space that the free weights sort of are in. You can be in there too. Don't let other people push you out of that space. Don't feel like you don't belong in that space, because you absolutely do. Do not be afraid of the free weights section. And that is going to lead us directly into our topic of the day. Everything hurts and I'm dying. Alrighty, so we're just going to dive straight into the topic of the week, and that is about taking up space. So we talked a little bit about in the beefcake that people shouldn't be afraid of the free weights section. They should feel comfortable to be in that area because, guys, everybody belongs in that area. Everybody belongs in that area. You belong in that area, 100%. You belong in all of the spaces that you choose to be in. And I think that a lot of people are very afraid of taking the space and taking up space, that they can sort of shrink and diminish themselves. And so first and foremost, the situation is, I know a lot of times, especially with a lot of women, we try to sort of shrink ourselves. We try to sort of like be smaller in many aspects. So not just in terms of like dieting or like weight, where we're literally trying to make our bodies smaller, but I think in sort of the ways that we carry ourselves and the ways that we interact with others in social situations, we can be sort of diminutive to ourselves and try to like be smaller. And I know, and I totally understand that there's a lot of social conditioning that supports that. But I'm here to tell you that we need to reverse that. We need to work actively to like be proactive to alter that to the opposite way. We need to get bigger. We need to take up more space. We need to assert ourselves into situations and into spaces in a confident and almost aggressive way. So a way that we can think about that, a really quick fix for that sort of situation, is to actually improve your posture. And so a lot of times, again, with like the shrinking and kind of making ourselves smaller, men and women, and also just if you're working a 9-to-5 job or if you're on your iPhone a lot, we always kind of have these like hunched over shoulders. And it's kind of giving like a little hunched over, smaller like body language. Think like a dog. Like when you see a dog and it's kind of like in the dog park and it's like kind of curled over and a little bit like nervous, that's kind of the same vibes that you're giving off if you're curled over and kind of hunched over. It's the same kind of body language. Also, if you see a dog in the dog park that's really like excited and proud and happy to be there, they're a lot more open. And it's the same with people. If you stand up straight with your shoulders back, you are going to look more confident. You are going to look more attractive because people will be sort of drawn to your like, I don't know, just body language of being kind of upright and, you know, I'm here. My shoulders are back, my chest is high, my chin is up. Like, I am here, I am taking up space, I deserve to be here, my posture is good. You will actually, it's scientifically proven that by improving your posture, it actually does make you feel more confident in yourself. There are plenty of studies that show of like power poses and kind of physically moving or even just standing in a way that is slightly more powerful. It actually has a positive impact on your self-esteem and your self-confidence in your head. How cool is that? Like the way that you stand helps alter the way that you think. And so like think about that next time you're sitting or standing and you're kind of hunched over and being really small. Think about how that impacts what's going on in your head, right? So if sort of good shoulders, good posture, if all of that can make you feel better in your head, think about how the opposite works as well. And I know for me, I would much rather feel better about things and more confident. So I will always try to have decent posture. Obviously, you know, we're on computers all day or we're moving weights around all day. We can be tired. I get that. You don't have to be like this all the time, but it might just be something for you to consider. Every now and then, put your shoulders back, put your head up, put your chest up. Tony just did it just now. It's something to think about. improve your posture, increase your confidence. Everything hurts and I'm dying. So how does one take up more space? So we talked earlier about improving our posture and having our shoulders back, chest up, chin high. Another way that you can practice taking up more space is by being more sort of physically assertive in situations. And so if it were me, one thing that I would do is I would practice first and foremost at my home, right? In your sort of safe space, in a place where you live, in your home, think about taking up more space. So if that literally means just walking around with your arms really big and wide, just do that. Like some weird monster, fine, do that. Sometimes what I do is every time I enter a room, I'll go like I'm swimming. You like put your arms like out. Sorry, I know on the audio medium, you put your arms out in front of you and then you like expand them open like you're giving somebody like a big hug. If you literally do that every time you walk in a door, it's just like energy, take up space. I like to do that sometimes at home because I don't know, I think it's fun and I like it. Any way that you can sort of physically make yourself bigger. This is a good one to do at home because no one really sees you unless it's like your family or your friends or whoever. And then in that case, fine, they should do it too. Try it together, practice with your children. So just get big, push your arms out, push your head up, get physically big and just walk around your house like that. Another way that you can assert yourself in your space sort of more outside of the home is think about how you assert yourself in the space at work. So, do you work when you're at like a conference room table? Are you sort of like in the corner with all your stuff kind of like really close to you, kind of like in your chair, sort of legs crossed, hunched over, kind of taking notes or on your laptop or whatever you're doing in that conference at the table? Think about like physically taking up a little bit more space. So think about, uncrossing your legs. Think about spreading your stuff out a little bit more. Think about sitting more comfortably in your chair. There's lots of ways that you can take up more space without being like a bully at work. If you are waiting in line for coffee or whatever, just kind of, you don't have to like shrink yourself and like wait kind of in the corner. You can just sort of stand, again, with kind of your legs a little bit broader, your shoulders a little bit broader, your arms a little bit broader, and just kind of, sit there and confidently just, wait for your turn for the coffee machine. There's definitely ways to do it without pissing everybody off. And to be honest, if everybody gets pissed off, that's their problem. Another way that you can take up space is thinking about how you take up space in public. So one thing that's really worked for me is that I work in a gym and I work with a lot of guys in the gym, and it's a very like bro culture, which is fine. I love it because I'm kind of a gym bro myself. So being in a bro culture is very suitable to me. So we're all kind of like doggos, and we will kind of like play doggo with each other, like physically. So we'll like give each other like friendly, like little shoves over, or like mess with each other in some way. And you kind of like are forced sort of to like take up space because we're constantly like doggoing. I don't know, like puppy play, right? You're constantly like pawing at each other, like pushing each other, like bark, 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 bark. Right? Tony's shaking, like nodding his head, being like, yeah, you guys are a bunch of dogs. Yeah. So I've realized though that like shoving around all of these big dudes in my gym has actually like subconsciously ingrained in my brain to like take up more space in public, because I'm like, right, if I can like play fight with like all my like coworkers in the gym, like these big guys, if I can sort of play fight with them, I'm not afraid of kind of play fighting, not really play fighting, but just I'm not afraid of taking up space and being a little bit more spatially aggressive in public. Tony loved that one. Spatially aggressive. That is the theme of today, how to be more spatially aggressive, with your host, Julia Krause. So think about that though. Think about being more spatially aggressive. Think about expanding your shoulders. Think about even on a more like spiritual level, think about like expanding your energy, right? So like if you have like your little radius, your little cloud of you that's like around you, like your aura or whatever. Think about making it bigger. Think about kind of expanding that aura just a little bit wider around yourself and take that space up because it is your space. In public, don't let people encroach on your space without providing a little bit of resistance. I know a lot of times I see this all the time. One of my friends pointed this out to me this morning was if you're on a sidewalk and someone's walking towards you and you're walking towards them, how many times are you the one to move out of the way? Is it every time? Okay. What if you didn't move out of the way? I mean, they're not going to run into you. I mean, even if they did, okay, fine. You just like kind of running into a stranger, but maybe it doesn't have to be every time, but every single time you walk past a person on the sidewalk, maybe like every other time, or maybe every 1 in 10 times, don't be the one to move. Let them move. Let them get out of the way. You take up space. You deserve to be on that sidewalk. You need to go to where you need to go. You belong on that sidewalk. Why should you be the one to move all the time? Take up space. If you end up shoulder checking them, sorry, Grandma. So think about that. Think about next time you're on the sidewalk. Think about every 1 in 10 times not moving out of the way. I think that's completely reasonable because all the other 9 times you can be as gentlemanly or as ladylike as you want, or they like as you want. Try not to move. It's your sidewalk too. Everything hurts and I'm dying. Okay, so welcome back, everybody. So I think that a lot of times when people are afraid to take up space, it comes down to a self-confidence issue. It also comes down to a place of not feeling like you deserve to take up space. I think that's a lot of the time the case with a lot of women. I know that, we feel, again, socially, like we've been socially sort of pigeonholed into making ourselves smaller, again, both in sort of dieting and all that silly stuff and making ourselves physically smaller, but also trying to make ourselves like spatially smaller as well. I hear that. And that comes down to a self-confidence issue that comes from a deserving space as well. So I am here to tell you that you deserve to take up space. You belong in the space and you should be in the space. We need you in that space. I'm going to come back to that, but I also want to talk about the guys really quick too. And then I'm going to bring you guys all back together. So the guys, I know a lot of the times for men, sometimes you guys like to shrink yourselves because you think it's the gentlemanly thing to do. Sometimes you think that you want to kind of get out of the way or kind of make other people like you because you're doing the polite thing. I think that also kind of comes down to a little bit of a confidence issue. You don't have to constantly get out of the way for other people, both men and women and everybody else as well. You guys don't have to constantly be getting out of the way for everybody else. There's occasionally times where people can and should get out of the way for you. You deserve to be in this space. You belong in this space. You are a perfect addition to this world. You are a vital soul to be around, and people are lucky to be around you. Take the space and assert yourself into whatever sort of situation you're in. You're not doing anyone any favors by shrinking yourself. You're not doing anyone any favors by trying to be overly polite with everybody else all the time. You're not doing anybody any favors by shrinking yourself to make everyone else feel more comfortable. Because guess what? The space is there regardless of whether or not you're in it. So if you're shrinking yourself, then someone else can take that space and they can take your space. Do you want someone else to be constantly taking up your space? I don't. I value my space. I value my energy around me. And I value myself. And that's from a confidence perspective of self-esteem and self-confidence and feeling like I belong here. I belong in this space. Here I am. This is it. And I think that a lot more people need to have that type of mentality of coming into the room, coming to the table, coming to just wherever you are. Like, wherever you are is, you deserve to be there, guys. You're good enough to be there. You belong there. Take the space for yourself. Be physically assertive. Be spatially aggressive. Because if you don't, someone else will, and I guarantee you they probably won't do as good of a job as you will. You belong there. So take the space. Everything hurts and I'm dying. So in summary, guys, take up the fucking space. You belong in this world. You belong in the situation. You belong in the space. Expand your body by improving your posture. Shoulders back, chest up, head up, chin up. You belong there. Expand your body by standing up straighter, but also expand your energy by, like, just knowing that it's okay for you to take up space. You shrinking yourself does favors to nobody. No one benefits from you being small. Almost everyone benefits from you being big. It's if you're constantly shrinking yourself and constantly holding yourself back, like, what's the point? Why? Get big. You deserve to be there. Expand yourself. Be physically aggressive. Take up space. Because it's then and only then when you're able to do that, you feel at your best. You feel at your most confident. You feel at your most capable. And you shine a little bit brighter. And everybody, recognizes that and wants to be around that. Like, think about, if you were sitting next to two people, or if you actually, two people at a party sitting at a bench and you're looking at both of them, total strangers, and one of them is kind of like cowering in the corner, and then the other one is sort of confidently sitting up straight and, looking at you, kind of smiling or whatever. Which person would you rather talk to? Which person would you rather spend time with? The person who is literally crumbling to pieces, or the person who is actually holding the space for themselves confidently and, like, creating space for you to also join that space, and the two of you can take up that space together? What's the kind of person that you'd want to hang out with on a more consistent basis? Hopefully the latter, and hopefully you guys would want to be the latter. And if you looked into your confidence levels and your self-esteem and sort of just really drilled it in your head that you belong in the space, take up the space, you belong in the space, take up the space, you belong in the space, take up the space. It is your fucking space. Keep that in your head and fucking take up space, y'all. Everything hurts and I'm dying. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching Everything Hurts and I'm Dying. I'm your host, Julia Krause. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at questions@ehaid.com. That's questions@ehaid.com. You can also check out our website at everythinghurtsandimdying.co.uk or ehaid.com. If you want to get a hold of me, you can check out my Instagram at TRexTraining20. That's at TRexTraining20. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Have a great rest of your week.